What if you could say goodbye on your own terms? Tanner Martin, a 30-year-old influencer with nearly 500,000 followers, didn't just leave the world. He announced his own death in a final video that left millions stunned. Only weeks after welcoming his first child, Tanner chose to face the inevitable with courage, clarity, and even a little humor. And what he left behind, it wasn't just a message, it was a legacy. Tanner Martin didn't set out to be famous. He was just a young man battling colon cancer, something most people in their 20s never even think about. But when he turned the camera on himself and started sharing his journey on TikTok and Instagram, the internet listened. With brutal honesty and disarming humor, Tanner let strangers into his world. He didn't hide the ugly parts, the hair loss, the chemo, the fear. But somehow, even through that darkness, he made people laugh. And more importantly, he made them feel. His followers weren't just spectators. They were part of a family, witnessing something raw, real, and unforgettable. Then came the moment no one was ready for. Tanner, facing the end, recorded one last video, his own death announcement. But it wasn't a tearful goodbye. It was calm, thoughtful, and shockingly joyful. "I had a heck of a life," he said, looking straight into the lens. He spoke to his wife Shay with love and clarity, knowing she'd need time to grieve. He even joked, saying, "Hopefully I'm hanging out with people on the other side, and we're making fun of you nerds." That was Tanner, deeply human, heartbreakingly brave, and always a little funny. In a world of noise, his voice somehow brought peace. But this wasn't just a story about dying, it was a story about love. Tanner and Shay's bond became the heart of everything. Through every hospital visit, every hard truth, Shay stood by him. She wasn't just his wife. She was his creative partner, his co-pilot, his rock. Their love story wasn't perfect, but it was real. And in those final weeks, it became something more, proof that even when time runs out, love can stretch far beyond the clock. 6 weeks before he passed, Tanner became a father. They named their baby girl AmyLou, but Tanner often called her Jiaozi, a playful nickname that means dumpling in Chinese. He held her in his arms, knowing his time was slipping away. But instead of despair, his focus shifted entirely. He wanted to make sure Shay and AmyLou would be okay. In one of his final messages, he said, "I just want to know that Jiaozi and Shay will be okay." That's where his heart was. In the future he wouldn't get to see, in the lives he'd have to let go. And then something incredible happened. The community Tanner built, one video at a time, showed up. A GoFundMe page launched in his honor raised nearly $500,000. Strangers became supporters. Followers became family. Because Tanner's story wasn't about death. It was about living with purpose. He didn't have life insurance. He didn't have time. But what he did have was a voice. And he used it to make sure Shay and AmyLou had a fighting chance. His supporters knew what to do. Step in, stand up, and carry his legacy forward. Tanner Martin is no longer with us, but his voice still echoes. Not through sadness, but through the power of what he chose to leave behind. Hope, humor, and a lesson in how to live when you know the end is near. He reminded us that life isn't about how long you live, but how deeply you love, how honestly you show up, and how bravely you say goodbye. And in the end, Tanner didn't just die. He gave the world one final story, one we won't forget.